welcome everybody to episode 30 of the COD Casuals podcast. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
How we doing, Justin? Good?
Good.
Lovely.
A lot of news about rostermania.
Yeah.
A lot of potential rosters, which we're going to go into later today. But
yeah. No, it's been a busy off season so far at Call of Duty. It's we're only in September right now.
Yeah.
And it's gone wild.
Yeah.
With the amount of rumors and potential rosters that we're talking about. I think today's the 6th.
Yeah, today's September 6th. So yesterday was the official day where players can officially start signing contracts.
Yeah.
Which hasn't happened. Nothing has happened officially yet.
Yeah.
That has been announced. But hopefully we hear something soon. I mean, personally, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because I'm sure a lot of these players have to negotiate pay obviously, but other stuff, especially if they have to move or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of these teams, which we'll get into in a little bit, a lot of them are really getting shuffled around. It's pretty crazy how many of them are that different.
Changing,
yeah. I mean, part of it too, it's surprising just because we're in the moment watching it.
Yeah.
I always think about it because I told you a while ago I watched a whole video on the NFL and how they were talking about its inception and all these teams changing.
Mm-hmm.
Within the first 5-10 years, they changed so much.
Yeah,
it was absurd.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for us being CDL fans, being a franchise league now, we're seeing these changes in the first few years, and it's mind blowing to us.
Yeah.
But it's just because it's so young.
Yeah. And I think roster mania is just. So many people are looking at it now just because it's franchised again.
Yeah.
And these are big name players moving around.
Yeah.
But before it was franchised, these moves were happening mid-season.
Yeah.
Because there are no lock-in dates for anything.
Yeah.
And the teams were shuffling all the time.
Yeah.
Literally during the middle of the season, end of the season, right before champs and stuff, all this stuff was happening. But until I would say the CWL, around Black Ops 4, and then obviously when it started to become more legitimate in the CDL, where teams started sticking together more.
Yeah.
And then that's when people started focusing on roster mania. Because roster mania was so hard to follow in the earlier CODs, because it you would only find out through Twitter.
Right.
And there were the orgs wouldn't announce it. You would just see players and they're all on a team together.
Right.
And it wouldn't make
you just have to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together yourself.
Yeah. The only teams you would really find out that made changes were the big teams Optic, FaZe, Envy,
United.
Yeah.
When they were around.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, now you get all these big announcements, which is nice.
Yeah, it's more legitimate.
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of coaches changing too, which we've seen a bit of. But even on that, some of these coaches, I don't pay much attention to it because I don't know much about the coaches.
Yeah.
On some of these teams, other than just the big teams, obviously.
Yeah. We don't even know if. I mean, I want to say all 12 teams have coaches, but I wonder how involved all these coaches actually are.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not. This league is still so young. It's not fully developed yet.
Yeah.
And coaches they're important to the players, but as a fan, you don't really pay attention to them.
No,
it's not traditional sports where the coaches are on the sidelines. Literally, everybody knows who the coach is.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that, right? Because when we watch football, or any general manager on other teams, whether it's soccer or baseball, you know who those people are.
Yeah.
Call of Duty. Again, some of the big teams, who they are. If you follow it, most of them are former players.
Yeah.
I would say I'd probably say all of them are former players. I would think some of the other teams Paris. I can't remember who those guys their coaches.
I think his name was Shane,
something like that. I can't think.
I think it was.
But guys for Optic, for Dallas, FaZe. Mutineers, Toronto, those guys all used to be former players.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's hard for a new fan coming in because you're probably never heard of these coaches.
Yeah, and you don't see them.
That's
you very rarely see them.
Yeah, and on top of that, the all the coaches, you said, are former players, but then there are some coaches that aren't, and they're just people in the scene that obviously the pros know.
Yeah.
And they have the skills to be a coach, but as a fan you're who is this person?
Who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, it's like Joey Nubsy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's him.
Yeah.
If you don't know who he is in the scene, and if you're new to the CDL, you're probably
Who is this
Who
guy?
is
Like,
it?
what does he
This
do?
guy was he was the head coach for the Surge and GM.
Yeah.
And he did nothing. And
Yeah.
he just lost.
Yeah. And I can't remember how he got picked up. I think he was like, I don't know if he was friends with Octane or how it all stemmed.
Yeah.
But they always joke about it, like
Yeah.
that Octane's like the whole reason that he's in the scene.
Yeah.
Doing anything.
They were roommates for a while.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. He's just been in the scene for a while. 'Cause
Yeah.
He helped with E United too.
Yeah.
Like at some point. But
So I don't know how he like would end up being a coach, but I remember seeing clips like he would play against pros.
Yeah.
And he was like horrible.
yeah.
You know.
Well, that's
Because he's not really a player.
Yeah, that's a weird thing about Seattle, though, right? Because I'm pretty sure Nubsy was a coach and general manager.
Yeah.
Just because, they just didn't hire anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, and whether that's like a management decision or they just didn't have the budget to hire anyone else. Because I'm pretty sure technically he was a substitute too.
He was. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was a general manager, substitute, and head coach.
Dude, he did it
Yeah,
all.
He's
bro.
an all-star.
He is an all-star. So yeah, that's what's kind of been happening, or with like the early year or two now of it is it's kind of the Wild West. With
Yeah,
some of the,
it's a shakeup.
yeah. Some teams have it way more on lock than others. Like FaZe, we were just talking before we started filming. Like they have a lot of people on their team that are not like, they have their coach, but they've got maybe 4 people, like 4 or 5 coaches. You
Yeah.
know, people who run certain things, like whether they're coach or strategists.
Yeah.
You know, like you would say Crowder is their, or Replay is a former player, like he's their head coach.
Yeah, he's their head coach.
But then they have all the other guys underneath him who are specialists in hardpoint or search and destroy,
Yeah.
and whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So they've definitely got an organization. FaZe has the money too.
Yeah,
To be
yeah.
able to do that.
And COD's also different than, I would say, other esports and obviously traditional sports, because there's a new COD every single year.
Yeah.
So the team, it's likely that teams are going to be changing every single year.
Yeah.
Which is odd. But if you find that team that, just works like FaZe,
Yeah.
that's a team that should probably never break up.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Unless it's like, personal reasons or
Yeah.
whatever.
No.
But that's like a rare, occasion, because it probably doesn't like matter too much that it's like a new COD every year, because they're pro players for a reason.
Right.
But like that does play into effect.
For sure.
Like it's a new COD, you never know.
Yeah. And we mentioned last weekend about Formal retiring, and watched a video on him, and he was saying like this COD, like just from the trailer and watching it, he's like, I would not like this game.
Yeah.
Like I would hate this game.
Yeah.
Which is so strange, and I'm sure that had a big impact as to why. Like
Yeah.
I was surprised, like he didn't even play the alpha. He's like, no, like that game looks horrible.
Yeah.
Like I don't want anything to do
Brings
with
them
that
back
game.
to World War II.
Yeah, World War II and MW.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it runs on that engine, and it's just 2 games that he's
Yeah.
like, nope. Like I
Yeah.
I
And
don't
those
want
are-
anything to do with them.
Those were 2 games, were not his best games in the world.
Yeah. So he's just like, why would I? It doesn't give you any incentive to go play.
Yeah.
But then again, if it was a jetpack COD,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
where he went off, like if
Yeah.
it was Advanced Warfare or Infinite Warfare,
Yeah. Or
or
BO3.
Black Ops 3,
Yeah.
we might not be saying that he's retiring. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
He might be into it, being
Yeah.
like, all right, let's
And
give it a shot.
For reference too, like he got dropped from Optic in World War II.
Yeah.
Because personal reasons, and on top of that, like he just that wasn't his best COD.
Yeah.
At all.
No, not at
So,
all. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it definitely has an impact on each player. Some people do better in CODs than others. Like obviously, Dallas Empire, they were champs during the MW season, and they ended up getting 3rd this season too.
Yeah, not bad at all.
No, not bad at all.
They're still consistent. It's just
Yeah.
that they're not. They didn't win champs.
Yeah, I think at that level, man, it's like there's probably some small fluctuations with players just having, like, they obviously adapt. Like you said, they are pros and they should get better and be within like that, 90% of their full potential on that game. But it's those little percentages that probably make the difference between them winning chips and not.
Yeah, obviously you're not trying to place top 3. Like you want to win every single time.
Yeah.
But if you're placing top 3 every single year, like that's not like you're good. Like you can keep the same roster going into next year.
Yeah.
There's no reason to change.
Yeah. Which good segue, because some of the teams that so you mentioned at the beginning,
We can get so there are like 3 teams
Yeah, most of them
that like aren't
right,
changing.
yeah, that aren't changing right now. As far as we know, again, this is all speculation.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Allegedly.
yeah, it was CDL Intel on Twitter. If you guys are into Call of Duty, like you're starting to get into the scene. And want to keep up to date, follow him.
Yeah.
At CDL Intel. The
Yeah.
guy, I mean, he's insane. I don't know what his hookup is. I don't know who he talks to, because it's. I mean, he gets all the intel. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like he knows a lot of this stuff before some of like the other players on other teams know this stuff. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Which makes no sense.
Yeah,
I mean, he's talking to a bunch of people.
yeah, for
about
sure, for sure. I think it is.
But
Some of those teams, though, some of those teams that we were just mentioning that they've been consistent. Last year and this year, and they're not going to change. It looks like obviously FaZe not going to change. The other teams too that I think are surprising is Ultra.
yeah, allegedly they're not changing at all.
Yeah, because they were not really that great last year. During the I think they might have won a chip.
No, they won.
Yeah.
I was looking at total earnings. Toronto's actually second overall.
Oh, really?
In the past 2 years.
Oh,
yeah.
damn. Okay, I take that back.
FaZe overall has won like 2.8 million in earnings, and Ultra's right behind them with like 2.2.
Ah, okay.
Which that's crazy.
That is crazy. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Because you think last year, like during the Modern Warfare season, Ultra they won a championship, and then I don't know where they ended up placing at champs. They might have got like, I don't know.
They had a lot of like third place finishes last year.
Yeah, they did.
I know they definitely won one major.
Yeah, because when you think of all the top teams, it's like FaZe, Dallas. Back then they were Chicago Huntsmen.
Yeah.
Florida they won 2. They were the only team to win back-to-back
They won
championships.
3 total, I think.
Florida did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it was either 2 or 3 championships.
Yeah.
And then Ultra was probably like right around with them.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
Ultra definitely they won their home series.
Yeah, they did win their home series. But this year, for sure, they've played way better than they did last year.
Yeah. I think it's just consistency.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm pretty sure last year they won once. They placed a lot of thirds.
Yeah.
And then this year they placed a lot of like first, second, and third.
Yeah. And they ended up doing their roster shift. They had dropped methods and put in Insight.
Yeah.
And from what we're hearing, at least, the intel, allegedly, they are not changing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good move. I don't think
Yeah.
there's any reason that team should change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, again, that's like what I was saying before. Yeah, if you're like, top 3, like you don't need to change.
No.
And the only reason why like I can see that team changing is just because like some players want to see their, other options if they can make more money.
Yeah.
Or, if you get an opportunity to play for like insane players.
Yeah.
But I mean, these guys are like a core 4 at this point. Like they know they can win together. So, because there are rumors that Kleenex was looking.
Yeah.
And I mean, rightfully so. Like he's a really good player.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of teams would want like a submachine gun player. But, I'm sure he would stay on this team.
Yeah. I think that team should stick together, especially since they just got second at COD champs.
Yeah.
And they played really, really well. I mean, they're playing FaZe. FaZe just looked unstoppable, so that's kind of par for the course. But yeah, none of them really had like a really bad year. Like they all played fantastic. They work really well together. I think it's just they need that last little bit, as a team to really gel, and then hopefully be more consistent and get more championships.
Yeah.
I think that's all they need. I think when you start doing these big roster shifts like that, where they're just kind of swapping people out, it could backfire on them a lot more.
Yeah. You got to relearn like your whole team again.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've been consistent like both years. It's just they just got to get to where like FaZe is.
Yeah.
And I would say part of that's just like FaZe is really talented, like super talented with the players that they have. But Ultra has beaten them in the finals before, and they know they can do it. It's just FaZe has that slight edge of who the players are.
Yeah.
And Ultra just has to work a little bit harder. Yeah. But it's not like they're not placing like top 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Every single time.
No, like they're doing fantastic.
Yeah. I think their lowest placing was like 4th.
Probably, yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. They were ultra consistent.
Yeah.
Like what did there. They were so good this year. I had heard people talking about like making sure that they get their bag and they get enough cash, which I would only imagine after this year that they definitely got their salaries increased. I mean, they've all raised their stock through the roof.
Yeah,
you know,
they better get paid.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I say like I could see them breaking up because if a player isn't satisfied with how much they're making compared to like other subs in the league or ARs, like they definitely know that they can look elsewhere.
Yeah,
they can probably make more.
No, exactly. So it's no surprise with Ultra, and then same thing with FaZe. Like, there's no shock there, right? Like, I think it would be more mind blowing if they did change.
Yeah, after winning champs.
Yeah,
it was like last year when Clayster got dropped from the Empire, but that wasn't because of money or anything. It was just because the switch to 4v4, they had to get rid of someone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, FaZe, their last year they had Priesta and Major Maniac. So they got rid of them, brought in Arcides. They've looked fantastic.
Yeah, and then Arcides and Cell.
Yeah, absurd. And then mentioning Major Maniac and Priesta, talking about Minnesota ROKKR. That's another team too that apparently is not gonna change.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah, we're saying allegedly joking, but it's true. Like we really don't know. I trust that guy, CDL Intel, because it seems to be like he's waited a lot this year before putting out Intel. So it seems like a lot of this stuff should be pretty close to being set. Or these are like the main talks are happening.
Yeah. This team, I mean,
what do you think about this?
I mean, they did pretty well towards the end of the year. I think they gel well together, and they didn't. I think it's a good move, mainly because there are like other options out there, but like this team works and they can win. They just need to obviously piece everything together. And on top of that, they didn't really get a fair shot because they had a Major Maniac for the first first month or two, if that. Yeah. And then Major Maniac got benched.
Yep.
And then Accuracy came in, and then Sandy wasn't even on the team then.
Yeah.
So who was it? Like they went through like.
Yeah, so they had. I was gonna say because it was Major Maniac, Accuracy, Priesta, and Attach.
Yeah,
and then they went and got rid of Major Maniac and put in Standy.
Yeah,
which then they looked really good.
Yeah,
but then they kind of fell into a slump again, and then they got rid of Accuracy and put Major Maniac back in.
Exactly.
So they went through quite a few changes, but that is when the team seemed to hit stride. Is when they had that last team there with Major Maniac and Standy.
Yeah. So I think going through another year, like a full year with this roster, it's good. Yeah. So they didn't really get a fair shot.
Yeah, I think they need that full year. There's something definitely to be said about that, man, is when you just have that team and you get to work through those hardships.
Yeah.
And grow as a team and hopefully improve. I think sometimes when you start, you have like maybe one bad major and you start doing roster changes, like I don't know. At least at these bigger teams, I always question that. Some of the smaller teams, I feel like you can.
Yeah.
If you have to make really drastic changes because you're doing so poorly.
Yeah.
But some of these teams, they'll make changes like instantly, just throwing people in and out and seeing what sticks.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to like tell.
Exactly, right? It's easier said than done.
It's up to the players. You know, if two of the players think that, like, you got to make a change. That's half of the team.
Right.
But I think this is a good move for them to stick together. But I know like the other teams that we'll talk about later, like a lot of fans are saying this team is going to be like a top 8 team, if that. I'm like, okay, I don't know. Like a lot of the rumored teams are good.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Really good teams.
Yeah, that's what worries me too. Yeah. Is like a lot of these teams that we've seen at the bottom, which we'll touch on, like. These rosters that they're talking about, they're insane. Like some of them are really, really freaking good. Like they're making major upgrades.
Yeah, yeah.
And is ROKKR going to be able to hang with the roster that they've got now?
Yeah.
Like who knows, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be the question.
I mean, I think they're going to fall top 6 again. Yeah. Like that's where I would rank them.
Yeah.
But I mean, they have Attach who ends up he's a vet. Like
Legend.
He ends up winning at least once.
Yeah.
And they got Standy. He had an insane rookie year.
Yeah.
And then Major Maniac, he's like always consistent for the most part. And then on top of that, they have Priesta. And that dude's just crazy when he goes off.
Yeah, I think the thing with ROKKR that is their biggest problem is their slow starting team.
Yeah.
You know, like we've seen that. We saw that throughout the major. That happened to them a few, or the major that they ended up winning against Ultra, Major 5. But then at Champs too, same thing. Like they would go down and then they would like have that resurgence. They'd finally warm up and then they would fry. You know.
Yeah.
I think at the higher level when they're going against those top teams, like that's what happened to them against Dallas. I think they ended up placing 4th.
Yeah.
Dallas just like was one of those teams you can't get away with that. You know.
Yeah, and I would say part of that's definitely due to the format, and hopefully that changes.
Yeah,
but
right. We'll see.
Yeah, right. Hopefully it changes. It should change.
It should, hopefully.
But I would say there are very few teams, like, again, I would say FaZe and Ultra. Those are 2 teams that they're going to come out, like, hot right away.
Yeah.
Other teams, a good example, like Optic, they're just notorious for coming out cold.
They are,
like, all the time. Which is, like, it makes sense. I mean, like, think about the amount of times that we hop on right away. Like, you gotta warm up your shot.
Yeah,
and
for
these
sure.
guys are playing literally the top 1% people in the world.
Yeah. And
so I get that. So hopefully they can change the format a little bit. But also, like ROKKR, like I feel like that is definitely one of the teams where it takes them a little bit to understand the game and figure it out.
Yep.
Compared to, again, like FaZe Ultra. Like they're just gonna pick up the game quicker.
Yeah.
And whether that just becomes it's because of like COD IQ,
right,
or just how they feel in the game.
Yeah,
I'm sure that plays a role. But
yeah, so I mean, ROKKR, they're the last team I think that's not making any roster changes. Yeah. And then obviously we talked about it last week. Still no word on if it's true or not. It seems like everyone's leaning for it to be true with the Optic and Dallas merger.
Yeah.
So that team, that would obviously be a big change. That would be pretty dope.
Yeah. Before we go to that, I want to mention ROKKR like staying the same.
Oh yeah.
They accuracy got officially dropped from the team.
Oh yeah, true.
I want to transition to that. And just
sure, yeah, because he got dropped from the team, and now he's allegedly going to be on, I believe it's the Seattle Surge. Yeah. Which that has gray clouds all over.
Yeah. So the new team is supposed to be accuracy, Mac, Sib, and Pred.
Yeah.
And so obviously, if you guys have been watching or just following, Mac is part of the New York Subliners. So obviously, right there, there was a change there.
We'll get to that later.
Sib, he is a amateur player, and he was
sub on FaZe.
Yeah, sub on FaZe.
So he's dropped.
Yeah, I wouldn't say dropped. He got picked up. He got promoted.
I was gonna say, I wonder how that works then. Like, if he's signed under them, like, did they just have to let him go? Like, can he constantly be looking for a team?
I mean,
like as a substitute
as a
player,
sub, you only sign for a year.
Yeah,
unless they want to extend you. But
yeah, so I guess they just didn't extend his contract.
Yeah,
or he found Seattle and then just decided not to do it himself.
And then Pred is a player from Australia that everyone's been talking about, who's an amateur, that honestly I feel like no one really knows who he is from all the big named players that have been watching him. Like, everybody talks about him, but no one really, like, they just say that he's really good.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I'm on his page right now. Yeah, Amer Zolbiari. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Pred. Yeah, that'll make it a lot easier. Yeah, I mean, he's a player for Renegades with, what was that, Luca, Shocks, and Fida. I don't know Fida. Luca and Shocks, they played last year for Paris, I think, for a little bit. Yeah, dude, there's literally nothing on this guy. Like, there's very little about him. Other than just, like, some of his placings and Call of Duty Challengers for Asia Pacific. He ended up winning that in the finals with that team that I just mentioned. I mean, he won a lot over that year. He got, first place, like, started from the beginning, first, second, first, fifth and sixth, first, fourth, first.
Yeah.
Like, so they dominated. They did really, really well.
Well, a lot of players, are comparing him to Hydra because he's a sub player.
He's got that flippy hair, too.
I just think it's funny that, I mean, the league is still young, but like these random amateur players are popping up, and everyone's like, "This is the next simp. This is the next Shotzi." And I'm like, Simp has only been in the league for 3 years.
Yeah.
It's not even like a long time.
Yeah.
Shotzi's only been in the league. This was his second year, and people are comparing like these amateurs to these other amateurs, basically, like still technically, that
right.
are insane.
Isn't that insane? You think about that, like he's been playing in the league. Simp has for like what 1 year longer than Mac.
Yeah,
like isn't that crazy?
Yeah, but he like I don't know. Do you call Simp a vet at this point? No, I like it. No, you don't.
Like yes and no. Like you would based on his record, like how good he is, like and like his accolades.
Yeah.
But then just his time in the league, no, you wouldn't. You know, I think veteran. When I think of that, I think of like you've been doing it for such a long time.
Yeah.
That you develop like that IQ.
Yeah.
And stuff like again, Crim and Clay and Scump and Formal, like and we mentioned Attach. Like those guys have been playing for so long that they have that level of IQ.
Yeah.
Or certain moments that I don't think Simp and Abizi have just yet.
Yeah, but I would argue that that's why Simp is arguably like the best player in the league.
Yeah.
Because of how like good his IQ actually is for such a young age.
Yeah.
I would consider a vet is after 4 years.
Yeah.
That's what a vet in my mind is because and like you come in, you're a freshman. You are the rookie.
Yeah.
Then you got your sophomore term, you got your junior term and senior term. Like once you're past that 4 years, I consider you a vet. And like I mean Clay, Crim, and Scott, they've been doing it for like over a decade. So like obviously they're vets. But there's no clear like definition or time when like you become a veteran, but that's just mine because if you compare it to like traditional sports too, that 4 year after 4 years, like once you hit your 5th year, that's a that's a milestone. I would consider
agree.
you a vet then.
Yeah, for sure. So it'll be interesting because accuracy, he would definitely be the veteran leader on that team. Seb being rookie, Pred being a rookie, obviously, and then Mac still kind of being a rookie, I guess having a bit more like in his what would you call that, like his junior year of playing.
Yeah,
you know,
3rd year.
So I don't know. I mean, that team, I watched Octane break it down. Like that team for me can either be really good or really bad. Yeah. Like when I saw that or heard him say that, I was like, that is pretty spot on.
Yeah. Well, my thing is just, I mean, they know more than us, but we've seen accuracy and Mac play, and that's it.
Yeah.
Never seen Pred play. Yeah. Never seen Sid play. We've only heard that those guys are just really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, we know Mac's really good. Like he's gaining that experience. He's going his 3rd year. He knows how to practice and like play under the pressure.
Yeah.
And then obviously accuracy, like he's gonna be like the leader of that team. Yeah. So how can he mentor Sib and Pred into like the players that they need to be? Yeah. Like for the future. But I mean that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, I mean all the hype around Sib and Pred, it's pretty big. Yeah. You know, people say that these guys are insanely good, good players.
I don't know if that's just like how the COD community is. Yeah. Because I feel like when amateur players are coming in, they're like, this guy's really good. Yeah. He's insanely good. But like every time that's happened, they've been insane.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think with Pred, I mean, the amount of hype around him and people who talk about him, I would imagine that he's probably going to be at that level. Sib, I don't know, just because every time people talk about him, they always bring up his, like...
attitude?
Yeah. Yeah. Which I don't really know anything about that. Yeah. So I don't know if that really is going to be a problem. It'll be something that accuracy may have to manage and have to deal with. Yeah. I just wonder how they're going to all do under that, like under the Surge banner. Too, you know, because of everything we've heard about the Seattle Surge.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they can Surge if it's management, because it sort of seems like it's management at this point that's like holding back a lot of these players. Yeah. Hopefully they do, they meet up, they restructure everything, go about it with a different game plan, and have accuracy, basically have the keys to the team, but still be there for support because. I mean, this team's going to need support with amateurs. Yeah. And, like, with Pred, right? He could be a hit or he could be a huge bust. Yeah, exactly. But, Hydra came in. He fried. Yeah. He did good. And then Shotzi, no one knew who Shotzi was. Like, he was a Halo player. That's what everybody knew him as, and they came in fried. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, at first, I think at the beginning of the year, he wasn't that good. But then he just hit his stride, and he was disgusting. Yeah, I remember you played on LAN. and he went like 2-17 or something like that, like really bad.
Yeah,
like a really really bad.
People
KD.
fried him,
and everyone like cooked him.
Yeah.
And then he won MVP of the season.
Yeah, and champs his first year playing.
So, I mean, hopefully Pred can come in and do something like that. But it is nice seeing like more amateur players come in. I just wish that there were more teams.
Yeah, right. I hope so too. Some more of these guys can get an opportunity to play. But I really hope to see Seattle just having a resurgence and looking a bit better instead of. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're always gonna have those bottom teams. Like it's just that's how it always shakes out. But I would hate to see just these teams where they're not competitive at all.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It just, I don't know. It sucks because like Surge, they've been bottom tier past 2 years, but now this time, like going to the third year, it is a complete refresh.
Yeah,
like none of these players are the same.
Yeah,
so hopefully they can place like middle pack or something, because like you said, there's always going to be the bottom teams no matter what. There's going to be the bottom teams.
Yeah, you're always going to have them. But then from there, since we talked about Mac, right, being a player who's off of New York Sunrise, the other player who's off is ASIM from the Intel.
Yep.
And this team seems bonkers. This would be so sick. So this is for the LA GUERRILLAS.
Yep.
And I don't know, when I first heard about this team, I was pretty shocked. Just because, I mean, they squad wiped the whole team, which is good. I think that's what they should have done.
But before you announce it, we should mention a key person that is joining that team is Slasher, because he got dropped for LA Thieves.
Yep.
So I just wanted to mention that because that means LA Thieves is obviously making changes.
They're making changes themselves. You see how everything just snowballs into one another.
Yeah.
Right? So Slasher, right? Newsflash, dropped from LA Thieves.
Yeah.
And he's going to be potentially building a team with Gunless from Seattle Surge, right? They squad wiped. ASIM, who got, from what we're hearing, he may have been dropped from New York Subliners, or he just decided to sign with a new team. And then apparently who they are targeting too is the god himself, ROKKR.
Yeah.
Now, this team, name-wise, sounds whack.
Yeah.
This team sounds like, for LAG, this team, like...
Best team, like, since they started.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no question.
This is
no
a team
question.
Of superstars.
Yeah. Yeah, this team, like, when you look at it, this team is built to win.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this does happen, I'm amped.
Yeah.
If this happens.
Because, I mean, if you look at this team on paper, LAG just said, fuck it, we're not spending little money anymore. We're going to just throw money at these guys and form a super team.
Yeah. Because for those who don't know, LAG, like, though they are one of the, like, least performing teams in the league, they have a ton of money.
Yeah.
They have so much cash. Like, all those players that they had over the years, like, those guys were not cheap. Like Silly, Assault, Apathy, and who's the other guy? Who am I forgetting?
Chino, Vivid, Mental.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the person that kept rotating in and out.
Yeah,
right.
Well, he was an AM.
Yeah,
but
those three,
core,
cash.
Yeah,
they were definitely paid a lot because of their history. They're veterans. They've been playing for a long time. These guys, ASIM, I mean, he's kind of almost getting into that veteran realm. He's been playing for some time. ROKKR. Legend.
These guys are just more expensive.
Yeah, they're way more expensive.
They deserve
all of them.
More cash.
They do. And Slasher and Gunless, they've played together before. I don't think they've played with ROKKR. I know Slasher, obviously, he played with ROKKR, I think, for a little bit.
Yeah, for a
that
little
small
bit.
stint on LAT. But what's interesting about this is Gunless is not surprising in Slasher, but ASIM, we haven't heard anything about him being dropped off New York. And the same thing with ROKKR, who is still under LAT or under Los Angeles Thieves.
Yeah.
I mean, man, they are going to have to spend a fortune to get him out of there.
Yeah, because
I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, because ROKKR, for anybody that doesn't know, he was bought out by LA Thieves from the Dallas Empire.
Yeah.
And how the contracts work, since LAT bought him from Empire, now LAG, what they have to do is buy out the rest of ROKKR's contract from LAT.
Yeah.
And then pay him again, technically, for another year.
Yeah.
On LAG.
Yeah.
So money would be going to LAT, and then they would be paying ROKKR like the rest of his contract.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know how much that's going to have to be.
Yeah, we don't know how much that is. But again, like LAT's not going to sell him for like a huge loss.
No.
Like,
Well,
they
that's the
can't do
thing,
that.
right? I mean, I doubt they're gonna. I think they're gonna have to take a loss on him.
Yeah, it just can't be big.
Yeah.
Because LET again, like they're just I don't know. They're definitely not one of those organizations where they're gonna hold a player hostage because they don't want to lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
You know, if they lose, like they're gonna lose money.
They know that.
But they just can't lose like a substantial amount, you know.
No, they're gonna try everything they can to minimize that.
You gotta, Matt. Like I don't know. I think a lot of fans would lose a lot of respect for that team if they just kept the player hostage.
Yeah.
Because of like cash.
Yeah.
You know, that's
no, exactly.
not fair to the
and
player.
that's what I think we at the moment it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen because of some of these articles that are coming out saying Hook is gonna be on that team.
Yeah.
But until any official announcement happens, we really don't know what's gonna happen with them.
And where we're saying like the LA Guerrillas, like they got cash. The owners of the LA Guerrillas are the owners of the LA Rams, the NFL team.
Yeah.
So
they got
cash.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about Asim because like the other guys like we can mention a little bit about, but Asim, we've heard that he's been dropped. Other times we've heard like he just left because he didn't want to team with Clay.
Clayster, yep.
Well, man, yeah, probably Clay, just Clay. I was just gonna say the team in general, but he just didn't mesh with them. And I know Zuma, he doesn't really know everything, but he's mentioned that Asim just didn't mesh with the team well.
Yeah.
And him and Mac probably hold like some resentment that Clay left them and then just came back for champs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know at the end of the day, right? We never really know with those guys, but personally, man, if I was in that situation, that would suck. Like that would be hard to let that one go.
Yeah.
And plus, if they're trying to, which we'll get to after we talk about Thieves with New York, the moves that they're making, it's just he's the odd man out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Asim, I think he was one of their best players for sure. I mean, he had to lead that team for a while with Diamond Con towards the end there.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an amazing player. He was so important in that team, and you saw that when they had to put in
Decimate.
Decimate for stage 4, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And even just the games prior to that, they looked like a shell of themselves without Asim there.
Yeah. And like I want to say that it's because Asim's like he's a selfless player.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna do all the dirty work, and he doesn't care about his stats. He's just gonna run at players and do all that dirty stuff that people don't want to do. Like everybody wants a flashy KD.
Yeah.
Those flashy plays. Like he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He'll do whatever. But I also think that's like part of the reason why, like he still has more to learn.
Yeah.
Like he needs to slow down a little bit because I mean that dude's always going. He's just running.
Yeah, he hauls.
And like I'm sure he knows that because I mean he's only been playing at this high level for only a few years.
Yeah.
Like the first time I ever heard of him was on BO4.
Yeah.
And that was when Zuma picked him up for FaZe. And I remember seeing him like this guy's shot punch is fast.
Yeah.
It was like I would say the fastest shot punch in the league. It's so quick.
Yeah. He's so good.
Yeah. And maybe with a few more years, like he'll get even better. But he's really important because there aren't a lot of players in the league that I want to say that will just run in and do all that dirty, grimy work. And when I say that, I mean like rotating the hills, just sitting on the hill, baiting for your teammates. Like, people don't, even in pubs, like you don't like dying a lot.
No, you don't.
It just gets to you mentally. But for him, like he'll slide out for you.
Yeah.
If he dies, doesn't matter as long as you get the kill.
Yeah, he's one of those guys who he'll do anything he can, regardless of stats, to get the win.
Yeah.
Right? He's very team oriented.
All the boring stuff that people don't want to do in a game.
Yeah. So if he does end up on that team, he'll be a really valuable asset. I mean, that team will look great if it does come to fruition. But yeah, it wasn't really surprising that Slasher had gotten booted off. Along with him, TJ Haley, he got off, and same thing with Venom. They're off there as well.
And John officially.
Yeah, John as well.
Yeah.
So we haven't heard anything about those guys either with John, Tej, or Venom.
Yeah.
I would imagine Venom's probably going to go back to Challengers.
Probably. Yeah.
But with John, he played in Challengers for a while. He's a vet. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Just these teams right now, it's crazy because once they're formed, or at least from these sources, there's so many people that are left out, and you're like, wait, what's going to happen with these people?
Yeah. A lot of these big names.
Yeah.
And that's why, like I was saying, like expansion would be nice to see some of these players back.
Yeah.
But like you can't argue that these guys are being replaced by some, like these teams are nuts.
Yeah.
I want to say that if these rosters are true going into next year, these teams are way better than like this year's teams.
Yeah.
Way better.
Yeah, way better, way better.
And I want to point out too, like I just want to mention like Gunless. This dude, like he's been so quiet this year, because I remember he's been benched like every single year since World War II.
Yeah.
Because of just from what we've heard on Twitter and stuff, just like him arguing with teammates. Yeah. He's definitely gotten way better. Yeah. He's grown into a leader. So I think he's going to mesh really well with Slasher, because those guys just want to win.
Yeah. No, so hopefully this team, I mean, they've got such a good group of people around them. Mm-hmm. I hope that this will be like a final form for this team, and to be able to bring LAG up into that top realm where they should be. Yeah. With players like that.
Yeah. I'm hoping these bottom 4 teams that place this year at least place like top 6. Yeah. Just move up a little bit. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to see like these teams just at the bottom.
Exactly. Again. Like the same spot that they were last year. That would suck.
Yeah. But again, like there's going to be the bottom 4 teams.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard. There's only 12 teams.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to predict, I'm going to say FaZe and Ultra are going to be like top 3 already. Yeah. Just based off consistency.
Yeah. And one that also I hope to see, right, going to another one that we have to talk about. Speaking of Los Angeles Thieves, right, with Slasher being benched off there, is who's going to take his spot, which would be probably Octane. Yeah. Which is what we're hearing. That would be, I mean, that's not really surprising. That's what the rumors have been. Mm-hmm. I think since like day one, everyone's been thinking, since Thieves came in, everyone's like, Octane's got to go back. He's got to go back. Yeah. It looks like that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. It'll be him with Kenny. Draza, we don't know 100% yet. People are thinking that it is going to be him. Mm-hmm. I think it should. And then their other guy would be Envoy. Bro. Yeah. Can you imagine?
Envoy from Optic.
He goes to the dark side.
Yeah. The better side. Yeah. No, just kidding. That LA Thieves, that roster's like, that's a crazy roster.
That is really insane.
And so Octane, he was on Seattle Surge for the past 2 years, and individually he played pretty well this year. Last year he didn't, but overall placing didn't do well at all for his caliber. And the last time like he was good, like on a team that fried, was 100 Thieves in Black Ops 4. So this wouldn't be a shock if he did go to LA Thieves. Yeah. With Kenny, reunited. And, if Envoy goes there, like, we don't know. But that would be crazy, because originally, before Envoy was going to join Huntsman last year, like, he was supposed to, him and Arcides were teaming with Octane to go to Surge.
Isn't that nuts?
And then they bailed out last second for Huntsman, which, I would do the same.
Right.
So, Surge could have been a completely different team.
Surge could have been nuts.
Octane, Arcides, and Envoy all on one team.
Yeah, that'd have been bonkers.
So, rumor is Envoy's going to go unite with Octane since he bailed last time.
Right, finally get that team going.
Yeah. That 4 is crazy.
Yeah, then if that would be the sub-duo, that would be Envoy and Draza. Yeah. Yeah, and then they'd have Kenny running the flex.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be an insane team. Mm-hmm. LAT just didn't have the year at all that they wanted. I mean, they were... Mm-hmm. We talk about how it's tough making decisions to move rosters around midseason. Man, they were like the kings of that. Yeah, I can't even begin to remember like how many changes they made. Yeah, it didn't pay off though in the end. They had a really rough time, and they ended up dropping John anyway. Now at the end of the year,
and TJ.
Yeah,
for first year in the league for them. So
yeah, so they got they're trying to see what sticks. Mm-hmm. But this team on paper seems like this would be a team where, man, you've got a lot of people who you really wouldn't drop, or you wouldn't want to put on the bench. Yeah, I mean, all those guys on that team are star-studded. Yeah, they're the best guys you could have. Mm-hmm. It's not like you have a couple guys on the team who are like like he's okay, like not all that great. Mm-hmm. Those guys are insane. So I'd be really surprised to see those guys constantly being rotated in and out. Mm-hmm. I think for sure we'll see those guys get benched for sure.
You think?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure we'll see it happen. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, you think about it, like how much these teams change over the years. It's so hard to say no. Like you never know.
I mean, there's always a possibility. I think with this.
Hello, we had technical error there for a second. But anyway, we were talking about how it would be kind of crazy if Envoy or any of those guys got dropped in there. Yeah. I agree with you, But
I think it cut out before I said what I was going to say.
yeah. Okay.
I was saying, like, I don't think they're going to change. The only person that they would change is Draza because he's an odd man out.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. Draza he was insane all this year with them. So unless he just had a bad year, going into Vanguard, sure. But any of these guys, they could have a bad year, They could just play, like, really trash.
Yeah.
And then it's like they're in that Hook situation. They're like, well, this guy, he's worth a ton and he's a legend, but do we bench him because he's not playing well,
Yeah. This team has a bunch of flexibility, I think. Octane's going to be the main AR, has to be.
Yeah.
And then Envoy's going to be the sub. And then with Kenny and Draza, both of them have proved that they can be the flex if they need to. Kenny this year, he ran an AR, main AR.
Yeah.
He can run a second AR if you want it. And if Draza feels more comfortable on a sub, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Like, it'll work out perfectly. But I don't know, with this team, Octane was really good in World War II. He was on Optic back then.
Yeah.
Kenny, World War II was his all-star, like his rookie year, and he fried on TK. And Envoy wasn't playing then. So,
yeah, exactly.
Well, no, he was playing in the amateur scene, and he got, like, destroyed.
Right.
Because he came back off of keyboard and a mouse, and everybody knew him as a guy that cheated.
Yeah, the cheater.
But he's frying now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That team's really good on paper.
Yeah.
And I think they'll do really, really well. And the only way Cap will bench someone on the team is if, like, they don't place well at all. And if the team just decides, like, look, we have to make a change.
Yeah, which, again, on paper, you see that and you're like, man, these guys, like, they look so good. They should do that, but you never know.
Yeah.
That's how I always try to leave it with some of these teams. Is I'm like, man, I never know.
Yeah, I do. All 12 of these teams, anyone could make a change.
Yeah, absolutely. They could all make a change.
Ideally, I don't like seeing a lot of changes. That's just me personally. I like seeing teams stick it through.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Unless you're placing really bad.
Yeah,
then
exactly.
It makes sense.
I don't see this team placing really bad, but this team for sure, like, they're built to win championships.
Yeah.
And if they don't, I think that's going to make them want to change.
Yeah.
Like, if they're placing like where Optic was, like in the 4th or 5th, I think they're going to be trying to make changes.
And that makes sense because there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
But overall, that LA Thieves roster, I would say that they're at least a top 4 team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no doubt. So it'll be interesting with them. Now, last team we could talk about before we wrap it up, right? I think this is probably one of the biggest changes or the most ridiculous changes is going to be with New York.
Yeah.
Right? New York Subliners, their big pickup, which would be Crim 6 onto the team.
Mr. Porterhouse.
Yeah, Porterhouse himself. Yeah, this is pretty surprising. It's weird. It's weird thinking that, like, we're going to see Crim more than likely in New York colors next year.
Yeah.
But it's not surprising in the sense that Clay and Crim are going to team together.
They're a dynamic duo.
Yeah, they're the two vets of the CDL. Well, Scump too, right? It's really just those guys anymore, right?
Yeah.
That have been playing that long. And they've been playing longer than Scump, both those guys, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they won Modern Warfare's championship last year in first year of the CDL. So it's no surprise that they want to try to come back together and they didn't want to change in the first place.
Yeah. They're just forced to.
Yeah, they were forced to because of the change from 5v5 to 4v4. And then we had heard, too, that Clayster was trying to go team up with Crim mid-season anyway during Cold War, which was surprising.
Yeah.
So they've been trying to make this happen for a while, and now it's happening. They've had the opportunity for a bunch of circumstances that have happened.
Yeah, since Crim. I think that's like the biggest news, like since Crim got dropped.
Yeah.
Because first of all, that wasn't leaked or anything. Like Dallas, like Empire released that.
Yeah.
And that caught everyone off guard.
Yeah.
Because no one would have ever thought that Crim 6 would have gotten dropped.
Yeah, exactly.
Which leads to, like, this whole New York Subliners roster where if him and Clay join together with the other guys we'll talk about, like 2 vets, they combine for 6 rings.
Yeah.
Like just the 2 of them, 6 rings. That's they have a lot of potential.
Yeah, that team has a ton of potential. And And I mean, I don't even know what you would do. I guess Clay. Like, who would be the main AR on that team? Would it be Clay or Krim?
We can go into that afterwards. But the other two guys on the team,
Yeah.
Hydra,
No surprise.
Neptune from the Florida Mutineers. Allegedly, he's supposed to be joining too. I think it's funny because Neptune, he was a former Halo player and then switched to COD.
Yeah.
And man, if I'm him, if Clay and Krim see something in you and they want you on their team, that dude better be like he needs to go hard.
Yeah.
He needs to listen to everything they say.
No, I agree. Yeah, and it's funny too because Krim, he was a former Halo player too.
Yeah.
You know. So
and they
he
both
gets where he's from.
Yeah, they both teamed with Shotzi.
Yeah.
Former Halo player and then one MVP.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it was kind of surprising to hear Neptune thrown in there because Neptune, like, he's done really well, but he hasn't been in the spotlight like guys like I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of just some of the other players, like some of the other AMs that really just had so much hype around them and constantly talked about. Like, Neptune was never really bad.
Standy,
yeah, Standy, Hydra. These just absolute guys who were cracked.
I think part of it is just because he was on the Mutineers.
Yeah.
Honestly, because they placed 8th at Champs.
Yeah, they didn't really...
They
didn't rock the boat that much.
I think that was a big reason. And, like, their team this year, it was Skies, Awakening, Havoc, and Neptune, right?
Yeah.
The Skies is insane. Awakening, he was really good in MW. He was pretty good. I don't think he was as good this year, but I think that's a big part of it. Like, they don't have, like, insane superstars.
Yeah, like, the guys who were really good, like, Awakening was really good, too, but I think just the whole build of that team just didn't allow for them to really stand out and be, have those opportunities where they just went off, you know?
Leading off that, like, the builds that you're talking about, you asked, like, who's going to run main AR? I think that's the one downfall of this team if this game, Call of Duty Vanguard, is, like, a 3-sub meta. Yeah. Because it is a risk for this team to be built with Clay and Krim because they're both main ARs. Yeah. And if it's a 2 AR, 2 sub game, like, that's perfect. That's going to be perfect for them. But if this game's built, the meta is 3 subs and 1 main AR, like, that's going to be really hard for them. Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, if there's anyone that can make 2 ARs and 2 subs work, like, it's those guys. Yeah. Like, imagine seeing Krim or Clay run a sub.
Yeah, that'd be insane.
They would be the slowest subs.
Yeah, they would be. But then on the flip side, to help compensate for that, they do have Hydra and Neptune who are psycho. Yeah, they're insanely fast subs. Yeah. So they don't have just like, averagely like fast subs. They have people who are just speed demons on the map.
Like I would imagine Hydra's like super fast. Yeah, like, he's gonna be the guy like just running in. He'll be that entry sub. Yeah, and not Awakening. Neptune will be like playing off of that. Yeah, and like when Mike and I are saying like main ARs, we're saying that like they're only gonna be running an AR. Yeah. They can use other guns, but like their role is running a assault rifle. Yeah. If I had to guess, right, if we want to use these terms, like Krim's going to be the main AR, and then Clay's going to be the flex, but he's going to be running an AR the whole time.
Exactly.
Because he definitely does play faster than Krim.
Yeah, no, 100%, right? And I think we've mentioned this before, but just reminding, right? When you're a main AR, like Krim 6, he plays so slow. Like, he really just holds a lot of spots. Like, he doesn't run around very much. Yeah. And Clayster does the same thing, right? If you're a flex player, you use the AR, but you can also use a sub. Yeah. And then obviously having like, if you're a sub player, you just use a submachine gun. Like, you don't really see Hydra spawning in with a Krig.
Yeah. And like all these players, like, they can use either gun, right? Yeah, yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's just that
what they're better at and how they're like what that's going to allow them to do on the map.
How they fit into the team, like what they're comfortable with. Yeah. Like and there are faster AR players and others. Like, I definitely would say Clay is definitely for sure one of the faster main ARs. Yeah. He's running around the map a lot. And then Krim, like, he definitely sits in the back a lot. Like, he holds a lot of angles, like insane angles. Yeah. Yeah, he's just really good at that. He's good at, like, anchoring. Especially, I remember watching him on Checkmate. That dude, like, you could not kill him in the back wing. Like, it was so hard to kill him. He was picking people off all the time. Yeah. So, I mean, man, with Krim as main AR and then Clay as that second AR, like, flex player, where he's just playing a little bit faster, that's and Neptune and Hydra, that's a really good team.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be pretty damn awesome to see this team actually happen.
Yeah.
I hope this team works out. I hope it ends up being like a two AR, two sub meta.
Yeah.
Because that team's gonna be godlike.
Yeah. I hope that they're like a top 3 team.
Yeah, I'll be rooting for that team.
Yeah. See, the thing is, like, we're saying like top 4, top 5, top 3 teams. All the teams that we talked about so far, they could be top 3.
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing about this, like these rumors. All these teams could potentially be top 3, but someone has to be at the bottom.
Yeah, and they're all trying to devise teams to even compete with FaZe, right? Which I think these guys are starting to realize that that's what needs to be done, right? Is like, because FaZe is just so damn good, that they need to put these rosters together really carefully to think, okay, what is the best possible combination we can have of players who are going to be able to compete and possibly win championships. And from what we're seeing, a lot of these teams are pretty darn close. Like they're getting way better. Obviously with the Optic Dallas merger, which we're not really going to talk about. We already did talk about that. That was the whole damn thing.
We went off about it.
So I think this would be really good for them. This is great for the league. It's good to see all these players and all these teams starting to definitely upgrade. So we get more competition at that higher level, and in the midfield as well. Not just have it be the Ultra show or the FaZe show.
Yeah. Like, it sucks to know that some of these teams are going to be bottom 4. They're going to have to be, right? And like teams like, so we haven't heard anything from Mutineers, like nothing at all. Paris, we have. I don't think
we're going to hear anything from them for a long time.
Yeah, like we don't know anything about them.
London, we're hearing some too. We're hearing with Afro, Trey, Zero. And then they're bringing in
Nasty and Gizmo.
Yeah, I can't even talk about those guys. I don't know.
Either.
I know nothing about them. They're AMs.
Yeah.
Apparently they fry.
Yeah.
Does it sound familiar?
Zero, Nasty, Gizmo, and Afro.
Zero's a vet.
Yeah,
Zero's been playing for a long time, and he's really good.
Yeah.
And he started on no. I don't even think he played any Cold War. Did he with London?
No.
He couldn't make it out because of all visa problems and all that. I think.
Yeah.
He's really, really good.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fantastic that he starts on that team with Afro. Afro was definitely their better player.
Yeah. And if they're gonna keep the European like lineup, this is a really good lineup. Because I mean, what other pro players are saying, like this is a nasty team. It's a crazy team.
Yeah.
With Zero, he played for the New York Subliners and MW, and then he got benched and went over to the London Royal Ravens and played there. And like Zero's really good. It just sucks that like he hasn't been able to play like a lot because of this whole year.
Yeah, because of COVID. Hard to get out.
But that team, Royal Ravens, like that. I mean, again, we can't really speak too much about Nasty and Gizmo, but Afro and Zero, like we've seen them play, and those guys are good.
Yeah, they're insanely
really good. And I trust pro players saying that Nasty and Gizmo are insane players. So
we're gonna be sitting on the sidelines with our fingers crossed, hoping and praying that these teams and all these rumors are real.
Yeah.
And we get some good competition here because I want to see a lot of those bottom teams start making a resurgence and looking good.
Yeah, me too.
Instead of just getting stomped on all the time.
Yeah. And that's what it seems like. Minus, like, we don't know anything about Paris Legion yet.
No.
There's so many rumors flying around that Paris isn't even going to be like a spot anymore or city-based anymore.
Yeah.
They're trying to get rid of their CDL spot, and if someone does take that spot, then they can make it any city they want, essentially. So that'll be cool to see if that actually happens.
Yeah, it will be.
And then I guess going off of that, if the Optic and Dallas merger happen, we've heard a lot of rumors about Energy bringing back the Chicago spot. Nate Shot said, allegedly he's heard that the Huntsmen are returning, but I also think he's being a little bit of a troll. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's trolling. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen to that spot. I don't know if we're going to have 11 teams or 12 teams. A lot of people are saying that we're like you have to have 12 teams, but it's just someone's got to come in and buy that spot, or Energy has to go and create like a whole new brand and organization under that. If this, that's if this Optic Dallas merger is actually happening.
Yeah.
Right.
If that's
again, all signs are pointing to this happening, but at the end of the day, we just have to wait until that actually does happen.
Yeah, I think there has to be 12 teams in the league because I mean 11 just doesn't make any sense with any format you do.
Yeah.
Because it's just uneven.
Yeah.
Some teams gonna have an advantage if there's 11 teams, but again, like someone has to come in, right, and take that spot. And on top of that, like if someone doesn't come in, like Energy, they're out of like $25 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe the Chicago spots come back.
Yeah.
Andy Miller, we're talking to you.
Make that Boston team.
We need a Boston team.
Yeah.
This is a perfect opportunity to get a Boston team and
sign us under it.
Yeah, right? Not as players.
No. We'll get fried. Yeah. Entertainment purposes.
We love talking about this stuff.
Yes.
But
we hope that happens.
That would be crazy to see a Boston team because, man, Boston, city of champions. Like, imagine creating rivalry against New York, the classic Red Sox-Yankees rivalry.
Exactly.
Against Krim, Clay, not Shotzi, Neptune, and Hydra.
Yeah,
like,
it'd be insane. The storylines would be it'd be insane.
I'll be going to events saying, Clay, you're old.
Yeah, right.
Retire.
We'll be absolute hooligans.
Oh, we got to support our city.
Yeah.
Sign Doug.
Yeah, right. Bring in Doug Sensor. Bring him on.
Build a brand.
Yeah. Well, and the thing too, right before we wrap it up, is with all these guys that we've mentioned too, with all these teams shifting up, there's a lot of guys who are left out in the weeds. A lot of players who are just they're not going to get signed. And there's so many AMs who were former pros who should have a shot. You know, like guys like who just won the AM tournament. Like was it Saints?
Yeah,
Nato. Like those guys. Man, he should play. Like you would imagine that's how it works. You win the Challengers Cup, you should get a shot to play on a pro team. Yeah. But there's just nowhere for him to go.
Yeah. No, it's
unless it's like a Paris or something like that. If that even happens.
Yeah. And that's why we want expansion. Like I want to see more of these players back. Like I'll just go through like a list of like ones that we haven't seen that are in the league. Like Aqua, Temp.
Live right now, Asim, he's officially part of Waves of Subliners. Official.
Oh, officially?
Official.
Well, there you go, guys.
There you go. Confirmed.
Incoming news.
Confirmed.
Breaking news.
Live on the COD Casuals. Check it Twitter. He's gone.
So, I mean, that's not confirmed yet.
Yikes.
But he's away from them. But yeah, like players like Aqua, Temp, Zaptius, Scraps, Vivid. Like these are just a few names that they're not on a team.
Yeah,
and these guys are. First of all, Vivid.
That's insane. Throw that man on a team.
If
for the love of God.
This dude isn't on a team, that's ridiculous.
I'm losing my mind.
Like Apathy, Assault, Silly. I mean, those core three they didn't do so well together, but I mean, at least App, I would say, like that guy's he's got a lot left in him.
I think he does too.
Then Mox, well, he announced that he's just playing in Challengers.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, he's not even gonna, give it a shot.
No.
And then Paul X. Dude,
yeah.
Paul X, that dude fried.
Yeah, he was so good.
Yeah.
He was insanely good.
Yeah. And then you mentioned like TJ, Venom, John, like we don't know where these guys, like we haven't heard anything about them. We just know they're not on a team.
Yeah, and with these rosters setting up, it doesn't leave a lot of room for other teams,
Yeah.
Like the only teams that are really open would be what? Like if they make changes, Mutineers
in Paris
might be a team. Yeah, Mutineers in Paris.
Yeah, those are.
It's 8 spots.
Yeah.
And
I mean, Mutineers they already have.
I'm sure they're keeping.
They got Skies.
I think if they might keep Skies and Awakening. I would imagine those would be 2 players they try to hold on to.
Yeah.
But Havoc and then obviously if Neptune, if he leaves, that's 6 spots.
Yeah.
And does it work out where all those players, can you formulate a team with those guys? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like right off the top of my head, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's tough for like a lot of these vets. Oh, I mean, we forgot too, Methods.
Yeah, Methods too.
I think he belongs on the team.
Yeah.
But it's just hard to say because, I don't know, like do these guys, are they at the point where they want to does Methods want to play for Paris?
Yeah, right.
If Paris stays.
Yeah, any shot just to play in the league.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah. Or, I think he's been killing it on content.
Yeah.
Or does he just do that?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if I were him, I would stick with content personally. Yeah. I don't think it's worth it to. I mean, again, unless that Paris thing, if Paris is out and it's some new org, then sign with them.
Yeah.
You know? But I think if it is Paris that ends up being the team and they have to form some ragtag group, unless it's really good, I think it's not worth it.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, Methods he's been officially like dropped from Ultra.
Yeah.
So he's looking at offers and whatnot.
Well, is he dropped from Ultra, or is he like, I can't remember if he is or if he's part of them, but they're letting him like look.
I'm pretty sure he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And
I couldn't remember. I was just asking. I don't know which one it is.
He can go and look for teams if he wants. But again, like rumors, like he's not on any of these teams right now.
Yeah.
And
no, he's not.
Unless that Chicago spot actually opens up, like that's another 4 spots that can happen.
Yeah.
And Methods would be, he'd be a good player to add there.
Yeah,
just
for
content.
Sure.
Like, and he's a good player.
Yeah.
But it's tough seeing like some of these guys that they're just not doing anything.
I know.
And I guess to wrap all this up,
in a pretty bow.
Not pretty. A player that we were talking about that didn't make the league and like they don't know what they're gonna do later on is Zed. Like he officially retired.
Yeah, true. Right. On a sad note.
Yeah. He retired from COD, and he put a statement out saying that he doesn't think his play style is going to fit on like any team.
Yeah.
And he's not sure if any team really wants to sign him anyways.
Yeah.
So he's just going to go and create content full time.
Which is good.
Yeah, it's good.
Now I wish him the best of luck with that.
Yeah.
He was a damn good player.
Yeah.
Not get too much into it, but don't think he should have been dropped from London in the first place.
I don't think he should have gotten dropped at all.
I thought they were a bit crazy for dropping him.
Yeah.
And they definitely did not get better without him. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
He was doing great. They dropped him. Shocking.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. If he didn't get dropped and he was playing on that team.
Yeah.
Like
it'd be a little different.
Yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't be having this conversation.
And he's one of those players where like all the pro players like know who he is, but fans if you don't really follow the CDL closely, you're probably not going to know who he is.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going to be weird because he's going to be a content creator full time, but like can he do this full time for like a few years,
Yeah.
Like he's not like a big personality like the Zumas, the Scumps, Crims, Clays, like those guys. I'm sure he streamed on the side, but he didn't do it as consistently as these guys.
Yeah.
So like, what's gonna happen? Like, I hope the best for him, and like he kills it, and he can continue to stay in COD.
Yeah.
I would hate to see him just like drop off and like do something else that's not COD.
Yeah, I would hate to see that too.
Yeah, it's scary to see because some of the players that we talked about that aren't on teams, like what if that happens to them?
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna have to go into content, or do something. It's gonna be a hard road.
Like what happens to John? What happens to TJ? Like these guys that they were in content and for like LA Thieves, but what if they don't sign on to a team this year?
They don't have their individual brand they got to build up.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to start from scratch, more or less.
Yeah, basically. So I hope, I hope the best for all these players.
I do too.
And they can make it. They just got to, put in the work, content.
That's what you got to do.
If Simp and Abizi, they're doing it, like, you guys got to do it.
Yeah, exactly, right? They're going to be playing for quite a long time, but they're getting ready for the long game for when they're not playing.
Yeah.
And they have that fan base following them.
Yeah, and I think
that's what you got to do.
Octane and Zuma, perfect examples.
Exactly.
Octane has had pretty bad years.
But his content's been going off.
Exactly, yeah.
Octane could stop playing today and he'd be good.
Yeah. And Zuma, he had to retire out of nowhere.
Yeah, and he's good.
He's good.
But there's a lot of players right now, if they retire, they're in deep trouble.
Yeah.
They need to really take this opportunity to build their brand. So hopefully with some of these guys, if they're in that situation, they can't find themselves on a team or they're retiring, they do make the best of that and they work hard to build up their brand because they're all good guys.
Yeah.
They just, they got to make the most of it while you're in the league.
And help the CDL grow. That's what we want. We want this. We want to be the founders of the CDL, the first guys that originated, So.
Dude, bro, more intel right now. More intel. Crazy. Again, this is all happening live right now. Hook, gone.
Officially
gone.
Oh.
It's all happening, Justin.
Guys, it's all
happening right now.
Wait, so Hook and ASIM officially
Hook
let
and
go?
ASIM are officially let
LA
go.
Gorillas, Slasher's gone
This
too.
is
and
apparently
Gunless.
from CDL Intel 44 seconds ago. They have officially signed Hook, Slasher, ASIM, and Gunless. They've officially done it.
Well, there you go, guys.
Can you believe it? Unreal. That team's going to be nuts. On that banger. That's wrapping it up on a nice bow there.
You said CDL Intel, right?
Yeah, CDL Intel posted
Oh,
it.
wait. The LA Gorillas officially.
Yep, they officially
announced it.
Yep, they officially
Lights
announced
out.
it. There you go.
Slasher, Gunless, ASIM, and Hook. Man, that's a crazy roster.
And then they put in there pending league
yeah.
approval.
We'll get approved.
Dang.
Let's go.
That's going to be great.
Good team. Great
Insane. So, on that note,
that's a crazy. I'm like shocked now.
Yeah, I am shocked too.
I mean, we know it was rumors, but this is official.
It's
now.
official. It's official.
Yeah, we should just get all these jerseys.
Yeah, right. Just
all
buy them all up. Buy them all up. So, well, do you have anything else you want to add, Justin?
No. Well, allegedly, these are all rumors, but this is.
Well, that's one part of the puzzle that is officially set in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I don't know if you caught on, or if you watched like the last Octane video. He posted a video about all these rumors, and he said allegedly, like
9,000 times.
He said it a lot, so that's why I was saying that.
Yeah, and you have ASIM out here. The CDL ain't ready for the Canadian duo Gunless. This is great.
Dude,
so it'll be
awesome,
it's going to be fantastic to see this whole team happen. I'm even more excited. I'm gassed right now. So I don't know. Well, this has been a long episode. We've been cruising through here.
Technical difficulty too.
For sure. So I mean, at the end of the day, right? These are all rumors that we've had. They're slowly but surely, like happening live right now. They are getting confirmed. It's happening that fast.
Yeah.
Justin said at the beginning, at September 5th, that it's happening, that they can announce these. So it's the next day, and we already got a team announced.
Yep.
So it's popping off quick. So we'll make sure on our Twitter at the COD Casuals, we'll keep you posted, letting you know about all these changes as they're happening as fast as we can.
Yep.
Be sure to go and follow us on all our other platforms, right? Go into our YouTube page. Make sure to comment, like subscribe, the whole deal.
Yep. Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
absolutely,
Overcast, Google Podcasts, everything.
You know the deal, right?
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us there, so you can make sure to watch us on any platform of your choosing.
Yeah.
Right? So this has been episode 30 of the COD Casuals podcast. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Justin,
and we will see you in episode 31, guys. Take it easy.
See ya.